with us again in person this week. Today we're going to be discussing the increasing trend of catalytic converter thefts. Here with us is Major Cecil Brisbane, who's going to talk to the community about ways that they can help themselves, prevent themselves from becoming victims of this specific crime, as well as explain some of the things that the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department are doing to address this increasing trend. Major?
Good morning. Like you said, my name is Major Cecil Brisbane. I'm here this morning to discuss a trend that we've been dealing with for a little while now. It's the theft of catalytic converters. It's something that's been on the increase for at least the last 2 years, and before that it was pretty uncommon. So if you look back historically at 2019, we only had 221 occurrences of converter thefts. In 2020, that number rose drastically to 871, which is a 294% increase. Currently today, we're at 438 converter thefts, which is another 172% increase. So what we're really talking about is CMPD addressing a crime issue, which is at the core of what we do with our Core 4 crime management. So we identified this as something that was troubling, that's impacting the community, and something that we needed to try and get a handle on. Right now, there are a couple models that are being hit more frequently than others, and those are Toyota Priuses, which are 146 thefts this year have been that type of vehicle, Ford Econoline vans, which is 36, and then another 26 Chevy Express trucks. So that means that those are the vehicles that thieves are targeting. What we realized was that although we thought we were the only ones that were dealing with this increase, this is not only an increase in Charlotte, it's a regional increase and also an international increase as well. I read a story about 2 weeks ago about some folks in the UK where officers were complaining about seeing the same things in their area. So in order to address this in Charlotte, what we did was we identified a group of officers that could be responsive to converter thefts. We've identified some partners with DMV, also some partners in some outside agencies, York County, Gaston County, Cabarrus County, and a North Carolina Insurance Investigators Group, so that we could come together and apply the appropriate resources to addressing this crime. And although it seems insignificant because it's a property crime, we have seen some incidences where individuals who commit this type of crime have done some things that have turned violent. If you remember a few months ago, in the Eastway division, officers responded to a call for service where they identified some individuals that were stealing a catalytic converter, and those individuals, when they were fleeing from the scene, shot at the actual officers. Homicide investigated that case, and we were able to put somebody in custody for that. However, that just tells you that although it's a property crime, those individuals can also perform violent acts. One of the things that we realized was that this crime is being fed by some individuals who have drug habits, and they're using the proceeds from converter thefts to fund their drug habits. We've identified locations where they're fencing locations. So in other words, you'll go out, you'll steal a converter, and an individual will purchase those converters for you. So individuals are stealing multiple converters a night, selling them to a secondary party who is then funding that. So that's just the backstory of how we got to where we are right now. The things that we really want the public to know is that there's some things that you can do to help yourself. And one of those things is park in a well-lit area. I know it seems really, really simple, but it's very easy to steal a converter. It's very easy to get one off. And if you don't park in a well-lit area, the potential for somebody to target your vehicle is high. So if you don't live, So if you live in an apartment complex, you really need to try and park somewhere that's lit. If you have an opportunity to have a garage, utilize your garage. If you're out in a shopping area, park in an area that's lit as well. Those are the simple things that you can do to help yourself. There are also some aftermarket things out there where there's some anti-theft devices that you can use. You can Google those because we can't tell you which one to specifically use, but there are some things out there that are coming online now that may be able to assist you. But the basics are simple. You know, if you see something that doesn't look right, say something, call 911, let us get out there and address that. Officers as recently as yesterday were able to respond to a converter theft and apprehend the subject that was trying to cut one off. So we are able to get out and stop those thefts, but if we don't get calls on it, it's going to be hard for us to catch the individuals because it is so quick and readily available. I know I kind of jumbled a lot of information up there, but does anybody have any questions about this so I can kind of give you some more information?
Do you know why those particular cars are being targeted?
Yes, I do. So one of the reasons, and I apologize, I seem to be sweating up a storm. One of the reasons is because the price of precious metals has gone up, and I believe some of those vehicles either A, the converters are easily to access in those types of vehicles, or B, the type of metal is more readily available in those vehicles, and that's why they're targeted.
And what does stealing the converter do to the car?
It really messes with the emission system, and in some cases may make the car inoperable. So it becomes a huge issue. It's affecting large businesses, it's affecting car dealerships as well, and quite frankly, it's a nuisance. We're living in a day and time where people are struggling with job loss due to COVID and things of that nature, and to also lose the use of your vehicle. That's a horrendous thing to add on top of that.
Anybody else in the major? And just to stand by, guys, with the major said, thank you, Major. The major said that we'll send us communications out via email to your desks, and there should be some video attached to it associated with a recent case that shows you just how quickly that these thieves are carrying out this activity.
And we find ourselves within National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. Here to discuss with us what that means, as well as present some very deserving employees from our communications division with some awards, is Captain Travis Childs of the Communications Division. Captain?
Good morning. I'm Captain Travis Childs with CMPD's Communications Division. First of all, I want to thank everyone for helping us celebrate National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. This is something that's celebrated throughout the nation. First of all, I want to thank all my telecommunicator employees, all my communication employees. They've worked diligently and hard over the past years despite multiple challenges. And they are a crucial part to CMPD's success and meeting our obligations to the citizens of Charlotte. Despite the challenges faced over the past year to include COVID and civil unrest, communications employees processed over 1,160,000 emergency calls last year. I think that's a remarkable achievement for any agency. So again, thank you to all my communications employees. We couldn't do it without you. With that, I'm going to move on to awards. We're going to recognize both our 2020 and our 2021 Communications Award winners for National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. Unfortunately, last year, in 2020, we weren't able to celebrate this due to the impacts of COVID, so we're going to recognize both 2020 and 2021 award winners today. With that, I would like to introduce you to our trainee of the year for 2020, Gabe Dillard. Gabe established an extraordinarily positive work ethic from day one. Within a few weeks after completing his 911 training, he was one of the first call takers to receive the UNC active shooter incident. Did not miss a beat, gathering all pertinent information and relaying it to the dispatchers. Gabe currently dispatches for Central Metro Division. That's one channel. That's one of our busiest channels. And he has quickly established himself as a role model on his shift, and is always willing to help whenever needed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And now for our 2021 our trainee of the year, Jacob Clark. Jacob also has established that he has a positive work attitude and ethic. Jacob took over 21,950 emergency calls last year. That's a lot. Jacob has effectively handled high priority calls for service while in training and being released. and he is currently assigned to Eastway and North Tryon, which is another one of our busiest talk groups. Again, thank you. Moving on to our trainers of the year for 2020, Haniel Pichardo. Haniel has established himself as an informal leader on his shift and who is ready to share his knowledge with insight and training and operational issues when needed. Haniel willingly fills in for other trainers when they have to take vacation or other benefit time, despite having very little to any short notice. Haniel has completed several final training evaluations for other trainees that are not his own trainees to ensure that they are ready to be released. Thank you, Haniel.
Thank you.
Our 2021 Trainer of the Year is Meredith Nelson. Meredith, on multiple occasions, volunteered to take on more challenging trainees in order to give them the tools necessary to succeed. Meredith is a leader and role model on her shift, and she to newer employees as well as trainers, and is always willing to help. Meredith is very thorough and adaptable and uses various teaching strategies to allow trainees to learn necessary skills. Thank you. With that, our DCI Technicians of the Year for 2020 is Kalina Thurman. Kalina coordinated with Spanish-speaking employee assistants to aid victims and collect required information regarding incident reports. She also volunteered routinely to work additional hours on various shifts to ensure minimum staffing requirements were met. Kalina also processed over 3,500 reports, supplements, and verifications. Thank you. Our DCI technician for 2021 is Chris Byland. Chris works diligently to ensure DCI data entries are always accurate and thorough and complete. He has processed over 6,100 DCI report supplements and verifications. Chris is always a team player, ready to volunteer for work and additional shifts when needed. Thank you. And to recognize our Supervisors of the Year, unfortunately for 2020 is Mary Mendoza, and Mary's unable to be here today. However, so we do have our 2020 award winner, or Supervisor of the Year, Brian Hemley. During the past year, Brian effectively managed multiple operational challenges over this year to include major civil unrest, severe weather, and support of the Republican National Convention. He effectively dealt with all operational and personnel challenges faced by COVID-19 from its rollout until through to this day. Brian collaboratively works with everyone to find a resolution to any operational and administrative challenge. Thank you, Brian. Last but not least, our Telecommunicators of the Year for 2020, J.R. Bennett. By the way, this is one of our highest honors for telecommunications. J.R. Bennett processed over 10,590 emergency calls last year. Again, that's a lot. He dispatches two of our busiest talk groups, again, Central and Metro Division. He is a veteran telecommunicator. He assists supervisors with their responsibilities when they have to step away from their current role. He also is a quiet leader on his shift in the communications division as a whole, who also can frequently be approached for advice by other employees. Thank you. And our 2021 Telecommunicator of the Year, Kevin Katani. Kevin took over 5,000 emergency calls over the past year. He also works as a trainer for 911 and dispatch. He dispatches on also one of the busiest talk groups, Eastway and North Tryon. And he assisted with testing the new text to 911 technology before going live. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. I just wanted to come and say a few words and basically celebrate. I'm proud to be able to come in and celebrate this week. This is a special week for telecommunicators, and to be able to see the work that goes on behind the scenes. These are the heroes that we don't often hear about. The calming voice on the other end of the radio, the calming voice on the other end of the telephone, and this is what makes us complete as an agency and as a police department. But I want to be able to make sure that we celebrate them appropriately and to let them know how much we appreciate them from the other end of the radio. So thank you all for what you do every day, and please pass that along to each and every one of the outstanding staff that you have up there. So thank you.
Anything independent of this, you guys are more than welcome to follow up with us offline. Thank you.
Congratulations, everybody.